Yes, sir. You know how that works.
Okay, we're good to go. We're good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All clear?
Let me restart it. It shows 0 watching now, which is weird.
Well, it'll climb up.
It'll climb up. Oh,
'cause
yeah,
you
it'll
still
start
see
recounting.
The messages are coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah. It'll recalibrate.
Right.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Elder Ricard Shar of the Gathering of Christ Church, welcoming you to our weekly YouTube Sabbath lessons. Now, today our lesson is titled, The Elect Being Saved Out of Troubles. There's a lot of things going on in the earth today, and we're going to discuss those things. And I believe the Most High would like the elect, according to his word, to stay focused, because it's Satan's position to keep us distracted and confused. Our lesson today, the elect being saved out of troubles. Get your pen, pad, and your Bibles ready for a groundbreaking lesson. And through this, we're going to tear down a lot of what you would call Christian or religious dogma concerning the apocalypse or the last days or the end times. Elder Lawyer, please let us begin or start us off with our Shema, which is out of Deuteronomy 6. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Again, I'm Elder Ricard Shar of the Gathering of Christ Church, coming before you this Sabbath through YouTube with a very, very important discussion and lesson today. Okay. By the time this particular lesson ends, you will all know exactly what's going on according to the Most High with prophecy. You'll also understand what's happening real time in the earth geopolitically in a result of conveying to you how the Most High is resolving these times. What do I mean by that? You're going to understand the times according to the Bible and be able to resolve them with what you see in the news or otherwise without being distracted. Okay? It's about the elect being saved out of trouble. Okay? Now, we're going to use extra biblical text as well as the Bible today. Why? Because these times of confusion, while the Most High is gathering his elect throughout the four corners of the earth, they were prophesied, believe it or not, brothers and sisters, by Enoch before the flood. They were also prophesied by Noah before the flood. The end times were shown, okay, to our prophets of old time before the great deluge. Okay, so everything Christ was mentioning, everything Moses saw on the mount was exactly the prophecy shown by the Most High to our prophets before the flood. Okay, so we're going to show you that. And also we're going to focus on the fact that there's a distinct mission by the Most High, according to the Bible, to gather the elect of his people according to bloodline throughout the four corners of the earth, who are called today the lost sheep of the house of Israel. that was prophesied, folks, before the flood. Okay? We're going to go into it today. We're going to use 2nd Baruch, a scribe of the Most High God, a prophet. And a matter of fact, Baruch is an actual book within the King James Version Bible. Okay, it's one of those that have been set aside within the Apocrypha, but nonetheless, it is a prophetic understanding, and it is a credible source according to the Most High. Okay, but he didn't only have one. Baruch didn't only have one specific record. He had 2nd Baruch, and there's a 3rd Baruch. We're going to use 2nd Baruch today. We're going to also use the book of Enoch, the Apocrypha, as well as the Bible. We're even going to break things down on a political vantage point for you today, showing you how to resolve things according to politics as far as a political figure. Why? Because the Christians give you this one antichrist theory without letting you understand how to break down political leaders according to the Most High. It has nothing to do with looking for one man, okay? But I strongly believe, like I've mentioned 10 years ago, that they're not finished with Barack Obama as far as on an international scale. And I also believe today, okay, and I'm going to break down today, that Donald Trump is also a key political figure in these end times that most people are downplaying. Okay, when I say downplaying, you're only looking at him or viewing him from what? A racial bigot standpoint.
That's right.
And that's the lowest level to actually view Donald Trump. He's been utilized by the powers that be, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and all that. Since, believe it or not, since he graduated high school, he has been a key component to be utilized for this time. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. He was reared up to do exactly what he was doing. Okay, because running America, being a president of the United States, is really no different than being a CEO of a corporation. Okay, so all that was practice for him. Building casinos, learning how to deal with money, the banking system, how it works, how to deal with people on a corporate level, how to do what? How to understand how to play the game, stronghold people, strong arm people, and how to make the deal, quote unquote, the deal. What deal was he talking about when he had that book, The Deal? So his life up until this point, okay, believe it or not, folks, has been seen. And I'm going to go into that today, okay? And that's in what? 3rd Baruch. That's in 3rd Baruch. That's 2nd Baruch or 3rd Baruch? That's 2nd Baruch. That's 2nd Baruch, in which we're going to show you that there would arise a certain type of man on earth as a leader in these end times. I hope you all are with us today. Okay, we're covering a vast amount of topics in one particular lesson, but it comes down to the elect being saved out of trouble. Okay, now let's go to Revelation 18 and 1.
Revelation chapter 18, verse number 1.
Come on.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen.
Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen. Now, some people are confused to exactly what Babylon the Most High showed John on the Isle of Patmos, right? Some people might think this is talking about fallen religion, that Babylon is speaking of the Catholic Church. You've heard all of it before, right? See, the reason why most people are confused concerning what Babylon the Most High is talking about here is why most people are confused concerning God's people. How do they correlate, you might ask? Well, in the Old Testament, there were a people who fell to Babylon in the 6th century BC. And the Most High prophesied what would become of these same people serving in a new Babylon, a future Babylon. So if you don't know who are the people and have no idea of the people, you will have no idea what location is predominantly called Babylon according to our time. You must know the people. Okay? The people of Israel that was prophesied to go into captivity under the daughter of Babylon. Now you're not looking at it from a religious standpoint. You're looking at it from a what? Geopolitical location. A country. Okay? Ruling predominantly over a people. So when it says Babylon the Great is fallen, it's fallen. It's speaking of a particular country. It's not talking about false religion. It's not talking about the Catholic Church, even though at the core of the Catholic beliefs, is Babylonian religion at the core of it. But it's not just specifically speaking of the religious aspect of Babylon. Babylon was everything. It was not only just a religion, it was a what? It was a structure. Like we have, like a republic. It was a structure, a political structure, a ruling power structure with a caste system. Okay. Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. So let's identify who the Most High is showing concerning Babylon. Let's see exactly what the Most High is showing, as far as location. Hold that and let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 137. Write these down, folks. Psalms 137. If you find the people, you'll understand the location. See? What are we identifying? We are identifying right now the daughter of Babylon. Read it.
Psalms chapter 137, verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion.
We wept these are speaking of Israelites here. When we remembered Zion. See? Read.
Verse 2. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof.
We hanged our harps upon the midst of the willows thereof. Now, when you go down south, you find what? Weeping willow trees. These are the trees the slaves would go for refuge after being whipped, chastised. They would go under these particular trees to hide and cry and pray to the Most High. Okay. Read.
Verse 3. For there they that carried us away captive.
There they that carried us away captive. Now, what land were we brought to predominantly that would become the superpower of the world? So now the Most High is showing King David a prophecy, a future prophecy concerning our people, the Israelites, serving in a new land called Babylon. There they carried us away captive. Okay, this is not the Catholic Church is speaking of right here. Okay, read.
For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
They required of us a song. Old Negro spirituals in the South. And we weren't singing about Africa in slavery. We were singing about what? The River Jordan. Let our people go. Right? Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to carry us home. We were singing gospel songs about what? Zion, Israel. So we had the knowledge as a people in slavery. Okay? We had that knowledge of our forefathers being the descendants of the children of Israel in the new land Babylon. Read.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth.
And while enslaved, they required us to dance and shuffle and sing as if all was good. They required mirth. They required the slaves to celebrate in captivity. Right? Sounds familiar, right? Go on.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Sing us one of those songs of Zion. So the slaves required us to sing Negro spirituals. Okay. Now this is speaking of, read the first verse again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon.
By the rivers of Babylon. It's speaking of what? Geography. A place. A future place for captivity. Right? It's speaking of America, folks. The glory that was once the glory of the world. It's over now. I'm going to go into that too. It's over. If you haven't gotten anything out of America, chalk it up. It's over. America will never go back to its original glory. It's a pipe dream with any politician using a slogan, "Make America Great Again." You cannot make America great again or this land great again with aware or awakening slaves who will soon leave the plantation. Listen to me clearly. The topic of this discussion, the elect being saved out of trouble. Read.
Verse 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
How can we celebrate and sing the Lord's songs in a strange land is what David asked. Read.
Verse 5. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
Come on.
If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer...
Okay. David said, I would rather my right hand lose its cunning. I would rather not be able, I'd rather live without being able to use my hands. I would rather not speak if Israel is no more in remembrance. If I can no longer remember the promises given to me through our father Abraham. Okay? Why? Because what David is seeing here is a people with all these gifts being enslaved in a new country, Babylon, who have forgotten their heritage and purpose. That's what David is seeing here. He's seeing us real time in America with no idea of our glory and promises. Why? Because the majority of us don't know that we are, I'm speaking of the black and indigenous people throughout the earth that are scattered and who have built all these empires. We are, in fact, the children of Israel according to the Bible, folks. And David said he would rather lose the skill of hand and speech before losing his identity and not realizing that he is of the stock of promise. But our people simply, we don't care. We don't care. Well, it doesn't matter. We're the only people running around in this earth saying it doesn't matter who we are. But all prophecy, I'm going into this today, brothers and sisters, the elect being saved out of trouble. Why? Because all prophecy, according to the Bible, are predicated on us. It's all about us when it comes to prophecy. Okay? Think about that. It's all about us. The whole Bible it speaks of the fall and rise of a particular people. We are those people, folks. The elect being saved out of trouble. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Psalms 137, verse number 6. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
Yeah.
If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
If I prefer not Jerusalem over my chief joy. You noticed that the distraction, or what you would call the bait and switch, was having everyone believe that we began in Africa. So that we can big up Africa and say it's good, let's be African and let's deal with the motherland. Africa isn't the motherland, folks. It isn't. It's an extension of our Garden of Eden. Our Eden is Jerusalem. See, Africa was only the middle passage between what? The homeland and the land of our captivities. It's only the middle passage. Okay, even the scientists who began to realize our people coming to the knowledge of Israelites, they began to put out little tidbits to have us honor and believe that Africa was the all to end all by claiming through their scientists at one time that they found the oldest bones in Africa, and everyone and their mother rallied around that crap. And then a couple of years ago, they just came out and say, no, we just found some older bones in Europe that's older than your black bones. And no black people out there are talking about this at all. You fell for the switching bait. They only put out the African thing when we started to realize that we were, in fact, the true people of the Bible and began to stake claim to those prophecies according to the Most High. Only at that time did they begin to promote Africanism. And simple people within our community who were willing to go into this Africa garbage for a hustle. Okay? Because these same people that are bringing this African stuff over amongst our people in America have no credibility at all or respect coming from the land of Africa. None of them are acknowledged as anything, okay, over there. I know. It was only a hustle to divert us from us understanding that we are the true people of the Most High God. And we lost that identity of Israel through this African garbage. Okay? Come on.
Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Do me a favor, you all. Hit that like button real quick so we can get more people in here, okay? Read it.
Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
And then the Bible says, he says what?
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
And then David comes and say what? Remember the children of Edom. Why? It would be through their power. The Israelites would begin to be sold as slaves throughout the four corners of the earth. It started with who? You got it. The Romans, Edomites. Romans are Edomites. Okay? And if you don't believe that, even the Jewish people know it. It's in their Jewish encyclopedia, and I have a stack of them about 15 feet from me right now that states the same thing. That they know that the Edomites are the European Romans. Remember Edom, the so-called white man,
in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
Who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. What is this speaking of? You got it. The Romans who sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD. It was the Edomites that said, raise it. So all of those people out there that are claiming that the white man or the Europeans and the British and all that, as far as the Queen of England and others, Russia, claiming that they're not Edom, that they're Japheth. Well, David said here in Psalms 137, concerning those who would establish a new Babylon to enslave black people or the Israelites, that he says, remember Edom, who said, raise it. So the Bible is telling us that it's the Edomites who raised and destroyed Jerusalem. The Romans, not Japhetic people, not Arabs. Even though all of these other people were within the conspiracy, Edom is the head of them all. The so-called white man is the ruler of this earth. Can you dig it? Okay, that's who they are. They're Edomites. Okay, let's not get confused into some convoluted digression concerning all these other races of people trying to say, well, Edom could be him or Edom could be that. No. Edom raised Jerusalem and set up the new daughter of Babylon according to the Bible. Read that again, Elder Lawyer.
Verse number 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom and
Remember the children of Edom in relation to what?
In the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it.
According to history, who raised Jerusalem? Who sacked Jerusalem? See? And this is in relation to Babylon. Also, our people singing songs of Zion while being enslaved in a far land, controlled by who? Edomites. Here's the clues to break down what we're showing you in Revelations 18. Babylon the Great is fallen. See? The empire that was built off of the blood, sweat, tears of the children of Israel is on its way out. Right? It's on its way out. That's the times we're living in right now. But everyone is confused and are being distracted. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 8. O daughter of Babylon.
O who?
O daughter of Babylon.
So David is prophesying not an ancient Babylon, but a daughter of Babylon that would have what? The same people who sacked Jerusalem as the leaders of it. Okay? As the power over it. European whites. Okay? Daughter of Babylon, where there would be slaves that were taken into a far land and who have forgotten their true identity. Being whipped and beat and would run under the weeping willow trees in the south. in that same land and cry, and were forced to sing songs while the slave master required them to smile and buck dance. Where is Babylon, according to Psalms 137? You still think it's the Catholic Church? If you know the people, you'll get the geography. So it was upon Edom and their intellects of academia to create a theology concerning replacement theology and claiming that it doesn't matter, all people are relative, there is no God's people. It was upon their religious academia to hide the true narrative of the Bible by hiding the people of the Bible. See? So now we know that according to Psalms 137, who's Edom, who's the Israelites, and where is the daughter of Babylon. It's speaking of America. Let's go back to Revelation 18 now. See? Simple.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 2.
Come on.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen,
And it is fallen.
and is become the habitation of devils.
It has become the habitation of devils. Demons are running everything here. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers and the workers of evildoers in high places, folks. Dark forces. Yes, the politicians are the front men. Trump and all these other people, yes, they play a prominent role according to prophecy, but they're only the face. Okay? They're just the face to divert us from the real spirits who are controlling things. Demons are running everything, folks. And they work flawlessly in what? A confused environment. This is how they can operate without being recognized. This is why the promotion of Sodom and Gomorrah, transgender and all these things are out there to confuse the masses so that the wicked or the demons can now operate freely without question. Now, it can be one of them walking up the street and all that. You would never know now. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about it's not that they care about who's being bullied. Mm-hmm. How do you think we got over here? Who was bullied? How do you think a bully got us over here? Oh, now you care about someone being screamed at? You care about a child that, that can't express his sexuality? Is that the real deal? No, folks. It's not about none of that. It's about what? This whole place has become a den of evil controlled by devils. Okay? That's why every other minute you're going to see some weirdness going on every other place in the earth. No matter where you go, your children will be influenced by it. If you turn on the TV, it's going to be about it. And guess what? It's going to be about that, hallucinogens, or putting you to sleep altogether. Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen. It's sick, and there's no healing for her. What is it about now for them? We have to look at this from two separate perspectives. We must be saved out of this. That's our perspective. That's the Bible's perspective. How do we get saved from all this chaos and confusion like our forefathers were saved out of Egypt? That's our perspective. Now, from the Edomites' perspective, or the powers that be who control Babylon's perspective, is how do we now consolidate power and move our power into a separate location before the fall of Babylon? So what you're seeing by the powers that be is the dismantling of Babylon. They're dismantling it too. Right? Think about it. I need y'all to think about this for a second. One moment. The first thing Trump did when he became president, quote unquote president, or just a CEO over this corporation called America, the first thing he did was do what? Made Jerusalem a capital of the Middle East and moved the American embassy into Jerusalem. Think about that. So with this embassy, eventually they're going to have what? A world UN, where instead of them meeting in New York, they'll be meeting in the Middle East. What will come of the meetings in America, folks? You haven't thought about that? They're dismantling and consolidating, moving all of their power offshore, knowing what's coming here. And while all people are being distracted by the demons. Now, I know you've noticed that on my radio shows, we started talking about regular news within the United States, hot button topics, and jumping on those on a regular basis. You know why? Because I kind of figured the attention of our brothers and sisters isn't like it used to. It's not like it used to be, where you can hold someone or have someone's attention for an hour or two going in strictly into the word of the Most High. So I kind of figured that, you know what? Christ says he would make us fishers of men. So if you are a fisher, you're going to use whatever bait you can to get their attention and steer them in the right direction. So the bait was, I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I'm going to give you the scripture or the biblical resolve at the end of it. So it doesn't matter what your topic is. The Most High word and will be done. You understand? But you have to understand that the power of what the Most High have given us to do as far as spread the word before it's over comes from these Bible lessons like here. Okay? Because I'm going to show you how all that's inclusive with Babylon is falling. All these little news bits we're going into, and Al Shapat hit the news in Academy, and I love his research and what he do, and I deal with the commentary on it. I mean, every time he does it or bring that news, and every time I go into it, it's like the first time we sat down with the news program, because it's something that's spontaneous. It's something that wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't documents that we did before. It's just spontaneous. But the more we go into that news in the Academy, and I'm like, you know what? It's deep, because what they're doing is they're dismantling America, knowing that it's over. They're dismantling. It's falling. Keep in mind, you have to check out the switch and bait of these devils, of the spirits that rule. And I'm gonna show you how Babylon is falling, folks. It has always been, this country has always been about what? Holding down the children of God before the reckoning and before the prophecies of awakening. The powers that be fear this time we're living in right now, folks, where our people would overcome the influence of our oppressor. And what I did this morning when I got up, I started to go through some of America's history. The Spanish-American War, the American War that happened against the North American Indians with the British, how they brought us over here. And then once we began to help each other, the North American Indians began to marry into us because we all looked alike. There's no difference. There's no such thing as a North American Indian that's a red man. Okay? Red man is Edom. They look just like us and still till this day. But I digress. What happened was we began to conspire together or work together against the oppressors. And what did they do? They opened up the floodgates for immigration. Started letting a lot of Italians in. Okay? Started letting a lot of Indians in from India. From certain families who understood who we were. They came not only with an idea for business, they came with a religious imposition against us to be used. It wasn't about immigration when they started letting the Chinese in. It was about what? Reinforcements. All through history, immigration has been nothing different than reinforcements of their power against the children of God here. Till this day, that's what immigration is. And you all are looking at immigration as, oh my God. And I see our people simple as a day old looking at this talking, the Mexicans going to take our jobs. Huh? You should have been worrying about immigration 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years ago. Okay? When the real enemies came in. At least the Mexicans were on this land first.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They were here before us. And you're going for the switch and bait about some Mexicans. Mm-hmm. Immigration is nothing but what? Population control and really a military reinforcement against the children of God. That's all it has ever been, folks. So when you see Trump talking about immigration, others talking about immigration, you have to look at it from a biblical standpoint. Babylon the Great is fallen. And Satan is, all he's doing is just inundating America with all these different confusing scenarios to get everyone off of what's going on and what's happening to America prophetically. It's over. And I can tell you the things that's going on with R. Kelly, stuff we've been talking about, all that stuff, everything can be broken down in this chapter we're about to read. Everything. What you're seeing against black people in America, be it Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, just pick one. It doesn't matter. What happened with Whitney Houston? It's all prophetic, folks. All of it. It's the end of her glory. And I'm going to tell you this. The Most High is calling everyone everywhere to repent. It doesn't matter what you did in the past, folks. And I don't care how high or you've been exalted as a star or whatever else in this society. Okay? If you made the deal with Satan to gain whatever notoriety you have received in this country, either you come under the Most High or you will pay the piper. The powers that be, the sons of perdition who control Trump right now, will burn you at the end of this. Any contract you sign with them, before it's over, you will be burned by them. None of what you have in your agreement is for your children. We're going to read it. Finish reading where you at, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. The rest of verse 2. Babylon the Great is fallen.
Come on.
And has become the habitation of devils.
And it has become the habitation of devils. Devils running everything. Come on.
In the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Come on.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
When it says all nation, that's immigration right there. It's all nations who came in here to benefit off of the backs of slaves. There go immigration right there. It has nothing to do with Mexicans. Our lesson today, the elect being saved out of trouble. We've always been in trouble here. And our problem is we've been so war-torn from one generation to the next. We as a people don't know who to trust. We don't even trust each other. After generations of being war-torn, we don't know who to trust. We've been inundated on every side. We've always been the focus, folks. Why? All nations fear the day when we stand all together as the children of Israel. They fear that day because no longer do their religious power have control over us. Those that control us through religion controls us. Okay? Once we come to the knowledge of us being Israelites, the Catholic Church loses their power, all the imams and the Muslims in their power, and now they can engage us like they wanted to the whole time. Stop trying to destroy us psychologically, religiously, and otherwise, and really come at us like you've always wanted to, instead of through proxy. Okay? When they can no longer control us religiously, and that time is coming, and I believe it's here, they will begin to try to engage us physically. See? All nations have drunk of the wine of her fornication. All nations. That's immigration. Anytime we gain any power to do something for ourselves in this country, they began to open what? You got it. All the ports and shores for immigrants to come in and inundate the slave areas, the slave quarters. You can't see that. And some people will say, man, we need to do something. What we're going to do about black economic empowerment. I'm listening to this crap people are saying today. Because it sounds good. It's too late.
Exactly.
Babylon the Great is fallen, folks. Now you're waking up. Well, what about something on the ticket for the census of slaves? It sounds like a good idea, but it's too late. We got all of these people running around in our neighborhoods, taking out the economic from our neighborhoods, and they coming with the numbers, the stats, and all that, and are correct. But then the question is, why the question don't come into, well, how did they do that? No one ever asked how they got in. You just speak to what is. They got in because Psalms 83 says all nations would conspire against us. They trickled in. They snuck in. A little corner store here, a little shop here, a little thing there. And next thing you know, you've been circumvented. Thus saith the Most High. That was the immigration we should have been keeping our eyes on, not some Mexicans trying to climb over a wall or try to climb over for a job in Las Vegas or in Arizona or California or Texas. That's where the immigration should have happened. Awareness should have been there when they opened up the borders to do what? Inundate our neighborhoods with strange people. But of course, we couldn't rally together against anything like that under the delusion of Christianity, not understanding that we are the children of God. We didn't understand that this was an actual military reconnaissance act against a race of people according to prophecy. See? Come on.
Verse number 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Read.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Come on.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people.
Said what?
Come out of her, my people.
Come out of her, my people. No wonder when you look up in your editorials, not your editorials, but when you look into the property and the realtor properties all online, all these properties are coming loose in America. And you're looking at shows where Americans are actually going into other remote countries, living cheap, looking for apartments. You think that's a coincidence? And guess what? And for those who are sitting back saying, well, where are we going to go? How that's going to happen? We got stuff on us. We got things happening. What about people in prison? Let me tell you something, okay? When you hear something like that, you're listening to a faithless person. Nothing is impossible with the Most High. Okay? And that's part of our slave mentality. We always look at the obstacle as a reason to stand still. That's a slave mentality. You don't look at that obstacle and say, okay, that obstacle was built. It can be dismantled. That's nothing. I can easily scale that wall. No, you look at the wall and say, well, okay, because of this, I can just stand still, not exercising no faith. If Abraham lacked such faith, there would be no such thing as a promise. I don't look at the obstacle, folks. You can't plan accordingly and righteously without faith. Mm-hmm. If you look at the obstacles all the time, you'll find yourself in front of an obstacle with no work done. So all those people saying, well, everybody can't leave. What about people that can't do this? And what about people? That's the last person you want in a meeting for planning. Last person. Because, you come in when you find an idea of how to overcome, okay, your insecurities. Okay, and that's your problem. Okay? Don't try to discourage others with your lack of faith. If the Most High say it's going to get done, do it. Don't worry about the things you can't control. Do the things you can do in your present state, in your present place. And the Most High will make a way. And that's what's wrong with our people. We always look at the negative first. When I say what's wrong with us, we've been trained to make our own prisons. Okay, we imprison ourselves. No one is stopping us from achieving righteousness and that promise. No one, the white man can't stop that. Mm-hmm. Come on.
If I can mention real quick, just one quick point on that.
Yeah.
Just a small example. You may have you have situations all the time where people from the poorest third world countries find their way into America, find their way into Britain. These countries or these people who really have little to nothing, they find a way to get to these well-established countries. So just to kind of add to that understanding. Exactly.
And it's whether or not you have a righteous ambition. Mm-hmm. When I say a righteous ambition, because when I find some type of debauchery or wickedness we would like to achieve, there's no stopping us mm-hmm. with those ideas.
Right.
Okay. Let's go.
This is Revelation chapter 18, verse number 4.
Come on.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people.
Come out of her, my people. And that's saying spiritually and physically. If you don't believe it's physically, you will not do any planning beyond the place of our captivity. Keep in mind, America was made as a new world. Strictly for what? For the enslavement of the children of Israel. Once the Most High begin to bring again the captivity of his people, which is the awakening, there will be no use for that place of captivity. So you have to understand that according to prophecy, there would come a time where America's usefulness would be used up. We're at that time. And we're living in the dismantling of it. When you see a man marrying a man, a woman marrying a woman, when you see a man calling another man husband and a woman calling another man wife, you know that it's destroyed at its very core. Mm-hmm. No family, no community. No community, no nation. Okay? It's over. It's been over. We're just looking at it crumble. We're just living in its crumble. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
Come on.
Remember her even as she reward her, even as she rewarded you.
That same place that have enslaved God's people. Read.
And double unto her according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her, or she hath filled to her double.
So that's the future prophecy of America according to God. Read.
Verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
So she's saying publicly on TV and other means of communication that she sits as a widow, that she will never lose war. Mm-hmm. With her military and her level of with the Pentagon, the CIA, and all these things sitting on many waters and, undermining countries that are thinking of doing things against her. Right now, you're saying, well, hold up now. Who could beat her? I guess someone counted out God. Mm-hmm. And of course, an atheist country would count him out. That's the one power you've forgotten. That it's prophecy. That there's no upholding a country that's prophesied to go. Right? It will happen. Mm-hmm. The Most High prophesied our captivity. We're here. We're the children of God. You have something, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 11.
Come on.
Therefore shall evil come up, or verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness.
Come on.
Like you were stating, the military, the espionage, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Come on.
Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth.
Come on.
And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments.
Now the Most High says, listen, stand with your enchantments, your witchcraft, mm-hmm. because that's what they're using with TV and all that.
That's right.
It's witchcraft. I'm going to tell you, it's straight sorcery, folks. To convince people to go along with wickedness is sorcery. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's witchcraft. These witches and warlocks and pagans have become school teachers. And with their little wicked magic wand, they saying, bing, I can turn a boy into a girl. Mm-hmm. Bing, I can turn a girl into a boy. Bing. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. Sorcery. Come on.
Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth.
That means America, from its youth, mm-hmm. was built on occultism. There was never a time in which this country was built on the morality and principles of God and the Bible. That time never existed. That's a lie. This country was built on occultism, witchcraft, sorcery. Read.
If so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee.
Come on.
Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it.
Look at that. That links flawlessly with Revelation 18. See that? A flame is coming here. With this war, this impending war with Iran will bring a flame. And you know what? The powers that be doesn't care. They're part of the dismantling of this. Okay? They're part of the dismantling. They're edging the war. They want the war. Okay? Keep in mind, the powers that be, the Zionists, they want the war, folks. Especially with the children of Judah waking up in America. If not just to get rid of Judah. Don't forget, it's the spirit that the Most High have had on Judah in America that's bringing forth the understanding of who's an Israelite throughout the earth, folks. And that's not to downplay anyone else who's awakening throughout the earth. But think about it. It's the blacks in America that the world have been waiting for, especially the black men to stand up and stake claim to our true identity. Okay? Exactly. Think about it, folks. It's the black Judite in America that's a threat to the world powers spiritually. We have done the research on them. The Most High have given us the understanding and the unction to stand against their religious imposition that have always been against us. And they know it. See? So now they're just looking at, let's go to Israel. Every Jewish person, every people, let's get dual citizenship. Every person that you see that's pillaging our neighborhoods from another country has dual citizenship. Where's yours? If you're a part of a Jewish synagogue, you automatically have citizenship to Israel. Automatically, if you're Jewish. You have clearance anywhere on the earth if you're Jewish. At the least, dual citizenship when it comes to the Middle East. Where's ours? And I know there's a brother in Ghana who is saying, I think in Ghana saying that he's going to open up entry for blacks and all that into Africa, right? But it's going to come time where they're going to have to roll out of Ghana, folks. Okay? It's going to be a funneling into the wilderness. Our people in Africa running from war. No longer will it be these proxy little tribal wars the Rothschilds and the Jewish people and Chinese people have been funding one against another. It will be the UN armies coming against us in Africa. So he's trying to open up the floodgates so he can get reinforcements. Right. Too late.
Right.
It's too late for that. Where our mind is, it should have been a long time ago. We should have realized we were the children of Israel and rallied together against what's coming. It's too late for that. Nah, you can have Ghana. We want the promised land. That's what Christ is bringing. Okay? We don't want Ghana. We want what's promised. Okay, according to our God. Now everyone is saying, well, we giving right to entry. Why? Because now the Chinese is taking it over. The other nations are taking it over.
That's right.
But when you took the bag from the Europeans 40 and 50 years ago, there was no right for entry. Our lesson, the elect being saved out of trouble. Let's go. And that's no disrespect to our brothers that's in Ghana or any other place. But we're not going to win this game politically. That's Esau's game. Okay? We're not going to do it. And I know they're looking at it, well, this is how we can counter some of the things, but you have to understand where we are in prophecy. That's a dollar short and a day late.
That's right.
Let's go.
Verse number 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
And the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Come on.
Reward her as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
So she's saying right now, she shall see no sorrows. That's what she's saying right now. One moment, we're going to come with the second part of this. One moment. So Babylon is saying she will see no sorrows, but let's see. One moment. Let me take a picture of this.
It's been like this the whole time, but it seems to be fine. But you can probably still
Okay.
take a picture just to get a note of it.
Yeah. Okay, is everything fine? Y'all can see us and hear us clearly with no issue, correct?
It's been doing that.
There's no problem, right? Okay, great. One moment. We're going to come with part 2. One moment. One moment. We're coming right back with part 2. One second, coming right back with part 2. 1 second. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. And make sure you hit the like button. One moment.